on Prime Crime.
We will remain loud about this and continue to advocate for Madeline. Children need their mother. We need our daughter, our sister, our aunt, and our best friend back.
A young mother gone without a trace.
Most people don't just disappear.
Those two kids were her whole world. The minute that Maddie wasn't responding for even just a few hours, it was apparent that something was wrong.
As hours turn into days, days to weeks, the truth surfaces.
She also said that you made a commentary that if she doesn't listen, that she's going to end up like Gabby Tito.
I was just trying to make a joke.
Hi there, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime, where we break down some of the most compelling and memorable true crime cases from across the country. After a typical morning daycare drop-off, a Minnesota mother disappears without any explanation. There's no warning, there's no goodbye. This is a case that leaves a family and a community desperate for clues, and soon they'll get unexpected answers.
Maddie was last seen the morning of Friday, March 31st. Maddie and the father of their children dropped the children off at daycare shortly after 8 a.m. Maddie did not show up for work, which is very unlike her, and we are worried for her safety.
March 31st, 2023. 26-year-old Madeline Kingsbury, who's normally attached to her phone, has suddenly gone radio silent.
According to Madeline Kingsbury's best friend, Katie, Maddie had not been responding to any text messages that day. She knew that something was up. She ended up going to the home that Maddie shared with the father of her two children, Adam Fravel, in Winona, knocked on the windows, knocked on the doors, nobody was home.
She found it unusual that she was nowhere to be found. This friend called the police to say, "I'm concerned about the welfare of my friend."
Police go to that home on Cary Drive and looked around but didn't find anything out of the ordinary. There was no broken glass, there was no blood, there was no signs of a struggle. Just seemed like nobody was home.
We know that Maddie returned to her residence on Cary Drive in Winona around 8:15 a.m. The father of Maddie's children has spoken to law enforcement and told us that he left the residence in Maddie's van around 10 a.m. and upon returning later in the day, Maddie was not home.
Most people don't just disappear. That is not the norm of just dropping your life and taking off. So you have to start looking at alternative reasons for her disappearance.
We're asking you to walk your property, check out buildings, and have a good look around for any signs that someone passed that way or for signs of a disturbance. If you know anything or saw something suspicious, your information might be the final piece that brings Maddie home.
Madeline's family quickly joins the widely publicized search.
Madeline is many things. She's a mother, sister, daughter, best friend, granddaughter, and a niece. It's a long list. She's a young mother of two, 5-year-old Eliana, 2-year-old Noah. Madeline is a hardworking and dedicated mother, as well as a grad student at the U of M, and works for the Mayo Clinic. Family is everything to her. She's grown into an impressive and beautiful young woman. We will remain loud about this and continue to advocate for Madeline any way, shape, or form. Please help us find Madeline. The children need their mother. We need our daughter, our sister, our aunt, and our best friend back.
Madeline Kingsbury is a mom of two kids. Those two kids were her whole world. She loved her family. She was very close with her sister, with her parents, her friends. She checked in all the time, and that was why I think that this case blew up so quickly, was that the minute that Maddie wasn't responding for even just a few hours, it was apparent that something was wrong.
There's going to be search parties that are conducted, and not even sometimes driven by the police department, just the community sometimes takes it upon themselves to help. The police can't be everywhere, but the public can be.
Winona is a very tight-knit community. The community was so involved from the very beginning, and I think a lot of that had to do with the push and determination from Maddie's friends and family. Within a week, there would already be a search party with thousands of people. Southeast Minnesota is very beautiful, but it's also a complex landscape to search in this sense. I mean, there's huge mountains and valleys and rivers, and the volunteers really had their work cut out for them.
Police initially reached out to her live-in ex-boyfriend, 29-year-old Adam Fravel.
This is Adam, correct?
Yes, this is Adam Fravel.
I'm sure you're aware of what's all going on. Some people called about Madeline a little concerned, and we're just trying to get an idea of where she might be.
Yes.
There's a lot of kind of irregularities that go on in the beginning of this case. It is fairly typical when somebody goes missing to bring the significant other in. Law enforcement typically wants that person to be on the record about where they've been, what they know. It is rare that law enforcement would simply just make a phone call.
When's the last time you heard from her or anything like that?
Yeah, so this morning when I last heard from her, so that's why personally I wasn't very concerned yet.
What time about was that?
I left her house around 10, and then when I came back home, she was going to take my car to work today, and my car was still there, and she wasn't there. And then I tried texting her, tried calling her, and I haven't heard anything since.
When you do interviews, you rely on not just the words that are coming out of someone's mouth, but their body language, their emotions. All of that plays into maybe your next question or your line of questioning.
Does she usually ride with anybody to work, or is there anybody she could be with right now?
She doesn't usually ride with anybody to work, but she has before. That's what I figured she did.
But was she supposed to pick up the children today?
Yes, we usually do drop-offs and pickups together. And this morning we both did the drop-off, and I tried calling her a bunch of times, I think 3:30 and like 3:45 and 4, and I didn't get any response, so I just picked up the kids myself.
Anywhere else in town you think she might be?
During the day, she constantly goes to like coffee shops, but not at this time of night. It's definitely odd for her right now.
These types of calls are in some ways very difficult to analyze because everybody does kind of react differently. Some people naturally are much calmer. Some people naturally are much more emotional. It does seem that there should have been at least a little more acknowledgement that things were out of the ordinary. He portrays this as this is just kind of business as usual.
I don't know if you can tell me or not, but like nobody else heard from her at all?
No.
Wow, okay. Can I expect any sort of like response, like tomorrow or something? Or I don't know if I should be worried or what.
We'll try to update everyone as soon as we can.
He actually was even heard saying things along the lines of, should I be worried? And we were all thinking, well, shouldn't you be worried? Because even if you didn't have anything to do with it, the mother of your kids is gone and you don't know where she is.
Immediately, detectives get to work, hoping for any kind of lead.
The good thing with this investigation was they have her cell phone. There is no need to go look for it or search for it, they have it. So the ability in this day and age of a digital footprint and what's going on in her life, who's she communicating with, can set up a timeline of her disappearance.
Maddie's family, they were working very closely with the police department. They were not jumping at media interviews. They did hold multiple press conferences, and they made it very apparent that Maddie would have never just walked away from her family, from her two kids, and that there was something wrong.
I think at this juncture in the investigation of not having a clear line of how she disappeared or where she may be, I would have prompted a definite face-to-face interview with Adam.
Police do exactly that. They set up an in-person meeting with Fravel.
You just start maybe how you guys met, how you got together.
We met in Winona. It was her freshman year.
What'd you go to school for?
Computer science. I'm actually graduating in a month. I took a break once we had the kids and everything. I took a break from school. I've just been working. And then 2 years ago,
When COVID hit, the pandemic and everything, I lost my job.
And then Maddie works at home.
She's hybrid.
Was she going to school at all, or?
In January, she just started her master's program.
For so long, we didn't even know what Adam Fravel looked like. We had to find out through a lot of sleuthing on social media to say, who is this guy? He's from southeastern Minnesota. He ended up going to Winona State University, and he was in a fraternity there, and that's actually where he and Maddie met, and they became college sweethearts in a sense. We also knew that he had a very hard time holding down a job, and after he met Maddie, he became very emotionally and financially dependent on her.
Tell us about Thursday morning. We'll start just in the morning with the kids and getting them up and stuff.
Well, nothing about Thursday sticks out as odd. It was just a normal Thursday. She'd been looking at apartments in Goodview. And I think Thursday she had another showing. So she probably would have been home all day. We picked up the kids, had supper, and went to bed.
Initially, it's just a missing persons case. You start gathering not so much evidence, but information about what could have happened to her. What is her normal scheduled day? What does it look like? Where does she go? And that may lead to something further depending on what is uncovered.
I think there was a lot that people didn't know about Maddie and Adam's relationship. According to Maddie's friends, it seemed like it was good enough at the time in college, but Maddie would eventually get pregnant, and that is when the relationship changed. She would reach out to her family and friends and say, you know, Adam doesn't help with anything. I'm exhausted all the time. I'm taking care of the baby. I'm taking care of the house. He's not helping with anything. And I think at that point, that was the beginning of the end for the relationship. Adam was very adamant that this relationship was fizzing out and it was for the best.
So Thursday is a pretty good day.
Yes, Thursday, I didn't have any reason to think anything was odd.
They are naturally going to look and see, was this a home invasion? Did somebody come in? You know, is there evidence of the door being kicked in or a window being broken or chairs and tables overturned? Was it a robbery? Is her purse gone? Is her phone gone?
You have a mother who has this estranged relationship with her boyfriend, and then one day she disappears, leaving her keys, her wallet, and her car at her residence. The circumstances behind her disappearance raises some red flags. He is, right now, maybe the closest person to her and might have seen her last.
While there may not be any signs of foul play, police hope Fravel can shed light on Madeline's location, and already, something isn't sitting right with investigators.
When you picked up the kids at daycare, how'd that go?
I guess I was a little nervous just because I haven't heard from her. But I wasn't necessarily worried. I'm just as confused as you guys. I mean, like, and I know, I get it. I'm a suspect, but I'm completely compliant. I mean, right?
Yeah, you've been great. You've been cooperative, absolutely. I'm struggling with where she went.
I know.
Several days into the search for Madeline Kingsbury, detectives have very little to go on. Law enforcement calls on her live-in ex-boyfriend Adam Fravel to help fill in some gaps.
Tell me about Friday morning then.
Well, Friday it started off completely normal. The only thing that was different, I would say, is that we were running both behind. So we dropped off the kids together, Maddie and I, and went back home. And then she told me that she had quick meetings, which was normal on her Fridays. She had a quick meeting, and then she was going to go up to Rochester. I didn't go downstairs at all that day. So I just stayed upstairs. I had a granola bar for breakfast, and turned the TV on, then I have a laptop. And so I was just filming on the laptop. And then 10:30, I think that's the time that I left the house.
He just goes through her schedule. He just breaks down, you know, we did this with the kids, we dropped the kids off, and then I went out and came home and don't know where she is. He's very nonchalant about it, very relaxed and very calm.
So the plan for the day was I was going to do a trip home, and I was going to do a trip to, mainly trips to storage. We have a storage unit right across the street. When I loaded up the van, I wasn't really paying attention, I guess. about 15 minutes from my parents' place. I started thinking about like what I was about to do. Then I just looked behind just to make sure everything was good, and then I was like, oh, it's the stuff that needs to go to the storage unit, not stuff that needs to go to my parents. And so I just turned around in choice, and then I went back.
He introduces this, I was taking stuff over to my parents because I'm kind of in the process of slowly moving out. I think that the context there is to try and put everyone at ease that she wasn't like throwing my stuff on the front lawn and changing the locks or anything like that. But then he has this weird story about how he drove all this way and then all of a sudden kind of spontaneously realized that he put the wrong stuff in the car and then he had to go back.
So like when I came back home, I didn't go to the storage unit. I just came home, and then I just emptied the van, and that was just it for the day. And then I just went inside and played games. I played Game Street.
Did you tell her you were leaving?
But I texted her, just because that's the way it was that whole week. Not hostile, but like we were just doing our own thing.
So what all did you load up?
It would have been a couple coats, a couple boxers, and a Christmas tree.
Did you say you got the choice and turned around?
Yep.
You were intending to go to your parents, right?
Yes, intending to go to my parents, and then when I realized I had the wrong stuff, I turned around and came straight back. I didn't make any stop.
They took him through his day-to-day. It almost highlighted the bizarre behavior, the dropping off of the kids together, and then when she was nowhere to be found, when he came home, he didn't even try to look for her. He didn't even wonder where she was. He didn't think it was odd that the car was still there. He just didn't do anything.
Someone with something to hide will often try and splice in just enough truth in the story that they're telling. So he starts off with a good portion of the truth. They got the kids ready for daycare. They took them over there together. There was no blow up at the daycare agency. They went home. That's where things kind of diverged a little bit.
I got inside, the TV was still on, and then my laptop was just sitting there. I just started playing games.
Did you check the house to see if she was there?
No, well, so when I got back home, I figured she would be gone. But that's when I noticed that my car was still there. And so my first instinct or whatever was that maybe she got a carpool, or her patient canceled for the game. That happened too, the patient canceled. I think I texted her when I got back home too.
Maddie worked hybrid for Mayo Clinic. On this day, she was supposed to go into Rochester, and Adam had told them that he came back, noticed the truck was still there, sent Maddie a bunch of text messages. Maddie wasn't responding.
3:30, I started texting her again, like, hey, you can be back to pick up with the kids, any plans for supper? I couldn't get any response, so I just, when it was 4 o'clock and it was time to go with the kids, I just left. Went to pick them up, and then after I put the kids in the car seat, I think I sent Maddie another text. I tried calling her, no response, and then I just went right from daycare to my parents' place.
He went and picked up the children on his own, so he said because she wasn't there, but yet he was on time to pick up those children. That's a very tell right there. It's almost like he knew she wasn't going to be there to pick up the children.
In a pivotal moment, detectives allude to a detail they believe seems important.
It sounds like she told you that she was seeing Spencer again?
Well, she would have told me that a couple weeks ago. When she started telling me the stories and everything, I just said, just get it all out, There's no reason to hold back now.
Adam said she was seeing somebody else named Spencer Sullivan, and that she was happy, and that was all that he wanted for her. Spencer Sullivan is actually an old friend of Maddie and Adam's. They went to college at Winona State University together. In those 6 months before Maddie disappeared, that was when her and Adam were clearly falling apart. They had talked and they knew that their relationship was fizzling out. He told investigators that the person that you should be talking to is Spencer.
How did that make you feel, Adam? I mean, that would be pretty...
I was hurt. I would say about a month ago, we had a good talk, and it was a mutual thing that we just didn't have the love. It was more, we both felt like we were both staying together for the children.
Anything happened this week as far as Spencer with her? Okay.
So like after she told me about Spencer thing, I asked her if while we're still here, living in the house, if you can just don't talk to him. And that's all I asked of her. And she said that she could.
He was very chill about it. He didn't seem like he cared. Maddie would tell her friends he very much did care about Spencer, and while he quote unquote accepted them not being together anymore, he still would get upset if Maddie was texting Spencer. We do know when it comes to was Spencer a suspect, he very clearly was cleared because he had a lot of airtight alibis. He was seen on surveillance cameras that day.
The mother of your children is gone with no trace. You would think there's a level of emotion that's going to come out of urgency, of worry, of concern. And when you don't see that, and you just see a regular, normal conversation with someone like it's just a regular day, that raises some red flags.
While investigators comb through Adam Fravel's account of his life with Maddie, subtle details that can't be ignored begin to raise some unsettling questions.
She also said that you made a commentary that if she doesn't listen, that she's going to end up like Gabby Petito.
Yep, I know what you're talking about. I was infatuated with the case. It was literally just a joke.
Hey, so I know some of you might be big true crime fans out there, but I gotta ask, anyone also in a business of some kind? If so, I have to tell you about Odoo, our sponsor. Why? Odoo is a powerful all-in-one business software that helps you manage everything from sales to accounting and, yes, manufacturing. Schedule your production, manage your assembly line, fine-tune your work orders with Odoo, all in one easy-to-use platform. You need fully assembled manufacturing software that will put your business ahead of schedule? Odoo has you covered. Plus, Odoo's manufacturing app syncs seamlessly with your sales, inventory, and purchasing modules so everything stays connected and running smoothly. Check out Odoo to take your manufacturing process to the next level and get a free 15-day trial today at odoo.com/primecrimemanufacturing.
I can tell you that it appears that this relationship was not going super well. To the point that she's wanting to get out of there as soon as possible.
If that was the case, it would have happened a while ago.
Investigators press for answers surrounding Madeline Kingsbury's disappearance, focusing in on her live-in ex-boyfriend Adam Fravel. Initially, he's seemingly candid and open with detectives. That is until they dig deeper and details get murky.
How was Thursday at home with you and Maddie?
Oh, you know what? Thursday was the day that I remember, Thursday was the day that I kind of hounded her a little bit. Yep, the Thursday wasn't a good day.
When was the last verbal argument you had with her?
I wouldn't say we had a verbal argument this week.
Tell us about some of your verbal arguments. Based on what we learned, Adam, these were pretty heated. Like, they got bad. You're kind of saying that we were good, it was fine. So that
if he's seen another guy, I'd be pissed.
But you gotta...
I mean, you can show your emotion. People get angry. If your significant other is seeing somebody else, I'd be pissed. Not just her, I'd be angry.
You gotta remember that we've been through this before. So through our 7 years together.
What detectives reveal to Adam raises the stakes dramatically.
There was that were saying that they were trying to get either her out of the house or you out of the house because you guys shouldn't be together.
I didn't think we needed to do that, I guess. I've just been focused on trying to get through this past month so that we can just go our separate ways.
Law enforcement will always find out what's going on with the relationship in a case like this. They will speak to family members, they will speak to her friends, they will quickly learn that the relationship was really falling apart.
You told her you don't want her messaging Spencer in the house?
Yeah, while we're still in the same house.
I believe that you said that because she said that to a couple people. She also said that you made a commentary that if she doesn't listen, that she's going to end up like Gabby Petito. That's what she told several people.
For those that don't know, Gabby Petito was an influencer on YouTube, and she documented her travels across the country with her boyfriend at the time, and Gabby would actually end up being strangled by her boyfriend and killed.
I was infatuated with the case. It was a manhood. I was just into the news and it was so stupid. I was just trying to make a joke. But I hugged her behind her and I said, you don't want to end up like Gabby Petito, do you? And I know that was really bad. That was a really stupid joke. But it was honestly just a joke for a moment. And inappropriate.
Yeah, it's not a very good joke.
I know, and it makes me look bad. I get that.
Her loved ones at the time said that you need to get out of there, like that is not okay. She did leave the home with the kids.
That sort of raises yet another eyebrow in the investigation, saying we have a real situation on our hands. Adam didn't even realize he was digging his own grave.
A curious comment from the man sliding into detectives' crosshairs. But while investigators are gaining traction, Maddie's still out there, waiting to be found.
Demeanor it's a big deal, and if this is the mother of your children, even if you hated her, it just flew in the face of normalcy. That in and of itself shows that something's going on here.
You're infatuated with the Gabby Petito story, your own words. My biggest fear right now is that this is mimicking that case.
I get it.
And the guy that's infatuated that case is sitting right in front of me. And he's doing a really good job keeping it together.
As detectives probe Adam Fravel over the disappearance of his ex-girlfriend Madeline Kingsbury, the direction of the case grows clearer, and it's leading straight to Adam.
The last text I got from her was that Apple Pay for $20.
Okay. And that was at 8:14 a.m. So your next text is at 1:33 p.m. These are all kind of coming in at fairly similar times, after like around 1:33.
That's when I was home.
But you said you were home at noon.
Like 2 hours prior.
Yeah, I told you that when I got back home, after I met the band, I just sat on the couch and played on my laptop for a while. I didn't text her right away.
I have a group of like 6 messages right here, and they are all within 1 minute.
The detectives did a great job with noticing the timestamps on those text messages of not matching up and not being realistic. As we would text each other about something, or a family member, were not consistent with the way he was doing it.
He certainly seems to just kind of be building on himself, where he will put something out there that's a little bit weird, but then immediately kind of justify it or slough it off and say, but it wasn't a big deal.
What happened between 10:30 when you said got gas and van and stuff and I'm ready to go, gonna leave? If you left at 10:30 and you didn't go anywhere else, you would have been in Rushford probably by 10:55, but you're not going to Rushford till noon. I'm wondering where this other hour in the morning is, what's going on there.
I don't know what to say. I organized some more stuff in the garage.
The garage isn't organized, so you weren't organizing.
To experienced detectives who have interviewed so many people, that is glaring. When someone starts edging you towards a certain narrative or pushing you to look at something else and trying to explain it is always telling. It's a diversion.
You're pretty solid on your times that you went to Joyce and back.
Yeah.
We have your van on camera going through Rushford at 12:50.
So it was later than, okay.
So
Could that be possible?
It very well could have. Yeah, I don't have a watch or anything. I'm not well, I'm just saying I'm not hyper focused on the time.
But I am hyper focused on the time. I want to know the timeline.
Adam's timeline just started to fall apart. Things he was telling them wasn't quite adding up with what they already knew to be true because they had already pulled surveillance videos.
I noticed you have like a scratch on your nose, a little bit on your neck. What happened there?
Well, I have 2 kids. I have 2 dogs at home.
You got some on your neck too?
Yep.
Well, you're rubbing it, so you're trying to make it not visible. You know, the timing of it makes it a little suspicious.
When the police are asking him about the scratches, it's a good thing to do at the time of the investigation because he can't change his story later on. He now solidified his excuse for the scratches.
Fravel's response and explanation is certainly plausible. You know, it could have been the dog, it could have been the baby. Human beings get scratches. I mean, that's not in and of itself a major indicator of foul play.
Do you know where Maddie is?
Do I know where Maddie is?
Do you know where Maddie is?
No.
Do you have anything to do with her disappearance?
No.
Here we are piecing things together. Things are starting to unravel a little bit.
What I told you is the honest truth from my perspective.
I just want to find her. For your kids, I think something happened in that apartment.
Why would I hurt or make the mother of my children disappear?
Because you're pissed.
I don't know that maybe it just happened. I just think you're holding back here. You know more.
No, I don't.
When crimes are committed, the cover-up is always harder. You see a lot of these crimes start to fall apart when interviews are conducted because the suspect can't keep up.
The walls are closing in on Adam Fravel. Investigators suspect he may be responsible for Maddie's disappearance, but she's still missing, and they don't have a lot of concrete evidence against him.
You were the last one to have seen her. You were the only one that had access to the house. You only had access to your cars. You went home with her.
Now, I'm not going to say much because now my wall is up and I'm probably going to have to get a lawyer because I'm feeling really accused and stuff.
I appreciate you being here, Adam.
I hope you guys find her.
All right, thank you.
That was a huge red flag for me. At the end of the interview, when they were walking out, he calmly said, "I hope you find her." That is not a statement from someone who is in the middle of trying to look for the mother of his children.
At this point, there isn't enough to hold Adam Fravel on any charges, but behind closed doors, investigators are far from ruling him out.
They either had to arrest him and charge him or cut him loose. At that point in time, without a body, it's very hard to make out a real case that something happened to her or that he is responsible for her disappearance.
Weeks pass and growing suspicion within the community and Maddie's own family builds, leading Fravel to publicly address accusations of his potential involvement in her disappearance.
Adam Fravel definitely did not do any favors to himself. Very quickly, he actually obtained an attorney and then released a statement through his attorney, and he said, "I did not do anything to Maddie. I want the mother of my 5-year-old and 2-year-old to come home." And that was all anybody really ever heard of him. He was not at any of the search parties. He was acting the exact opposite that you would think somebody would act if the mother of their 2 children is gone.
Announcing your innocence, that you have nothing to do with it, you're heartbroken, just like the community's heartbroken, it can absolutely backfire if the community is not on your side.
You think about anyone you know who might be missing. You'd be out there every second of every day looking and searching and helping, and that wasn't the case. This statement, this is just adding to more of a focus on him.
A major break in the case comes as investigators execute a series of search warrants, including one at Maddie's home and another at a remote property owned by Fravel's parents.
Technology would end up playing a really big part in this case, and remember, Adam was very into technology. And the first thing they looked at was his cell phone. And what was interesting was that Adam disabled all of his location services the day before Maddie went missing. What was also interesting was that when investigators eventually got into the home, they could see that there was something at the top of the wall that was ripped down, and they couldn't see what it was. They ended up finding camera boxes in the garage, but no SD cards in them. The camera company said that Adam had also deleted his account a week prior. They performed search warrants at Adam's parents' home in Mabel, Minnesota, and found what they described as a burning pile of technology in the yard.
Finally, a major moment shifts almost everything into place.
Adam would also be caught on a trail camera on the nearby property riding a UTV. There was a shovel in the back. Investigators did execute a search warrant on that Mabel home and brought in cadaver dogs, and cadaver dogs actually alerted to the shovel and alerted to the Ranger that he was driving.
Now, it's simply a matter of finding her. Now, law enforcement is pretty certain they know what happened. That is kind of how they were able to really put a bow on the case against Adam Fravel because there is just no real plausible innocent explanation. But obviously the longer that she's missing, the less chance that you're going to get anything significant from a forensic science point of view.
Authorities begin to stitch together the mountain of evidence, piece by piece, and following nearly 70 days of searching for Madeline Kingsbury, authorities make the announcement no one wants to hear.
We are here today to announce that human remains were found yesterday in Fillmore County. This morning, the Southern Minnesota Regional Medical Examiner's Office performed an autopsy. Law enforcement has confirmed the remains are those of Madeline Kingsbury.
You have multiple counties, and they're what most people would consider to be relatively rural. There are towns, but outside of the towns are just stretches of road, wilderness, woods.
When Maddie went missing, it was the end of March. And so in Minnesota, at that point, there's not a lot of foliage, so nobody saw it. But then months later, the investigator that found her actually said that he was alerted to the body because he heard the sound of flies, a lot of flies. And so as he walked closer and saw how many of them there were, that's when he called in backup.
The location of Maddie's body was off a low-maintenance public roadway. The area had been previously searched, but Maddie's body was covered and concealed in such a manner that she was not visible. While this discovery is not what we were hoping for, we are thankful to be able to bring Maddie home to her family.
The remains are found near a property owned by Adam Fravel's parents and confirmed to be those of Madeline Kingsbury.
Everything changes now. Now there's a crime. It's no longer a missing person. Having the body is enormous when it comes to an investigation because now autopsies can be done, DNA swabs can be done, the cause of death is determined. She was suffocated. Now you have a point of where that body was found, so you start working backwards from that crime scene.
Though the evidence against Adam Fravel may seem strong, there's one final challenge for prosecutors. The case is purely circumstantial.
Circumstantial evidence becomes the smoking gun. All of these little bits of suspicious behavior that on their own you might not think of, but put all together, it definitely led the trail. So really it is a circumstantial case, but it's one of the strongest ones that I've seen.
By the way, you know what's a tool that we use to look up various people in the stories that we cover? Truthfinder. This is a powerful background checker that we use to do research. You plug in a name, you get address information, you get criminal history, and let me just say, this can give you some peace of mind. Truthfinder is one of the largest public record search services in the United States, and with a paid subscription service, you can get access to unlimited reports about almost anyone, and that includes looking up registered sex offenders in an area too. So if you're interested, you can get 50% off of confidential background reports right now. Just go to truthfinder.com/LCPrimeCrime.
They did put a GPS tracker on his truck to keep tabs on him. And so we didn't know it at the time, but Adam Fravel was a suspect for investigators from the very first day.
An arrest is looming for Adam Fravel in the disappearance and alleged murder of his ex-girlfriend, Madeline Kingsbury.
When it comes to a family situation that someone in the family might be involved, you don't want to be wrong. You take your time and you just methodically go through every aspect of this. And once you start really the beginnings of building a case up against one individual, you want to be 100% right that you're on target and you have the person you want.
Several pieces of evidence are collected when she's found strangled to death on a property near his parents' home.
When the body was discovered, it was wrapped in a gray fitted sheet. And the tape that was used was a specific black Gorilla tape. So that in and of itself may not mean anything until you go back to what your search warrant uncovered. What is the likelihood that the matching set of sheets in the home are going to be missing the fitted sheet? And then the tape, although it's just average tape you can buy in a store, the fact that there was some in the house and there was some found on her body, it draws a connection.
Suffocating someone or choking someone is a very violent act. And that person is not going to be killed immediately. There is going to be a fight in that person. So you go back to the scratch marks, you gather evidence, and at some point, you kind of put it to the side thinking it's one thing, but then once the body's found and the cause of death is determined, now those scratches make sense.
They didn't find any DNA under her nails of his skin or anything like that. It was no surprise that you were going to find his DNA on the towel or the sheets or something. They lived together. That wasn't the issue. What happened is there was no other DNA. So there was nothing else to say that this was some unknown other individual that had anything to do with this.
I'm here today to announce my office filed charges against Adam Taylor Fravel for the murder of Madeline Kingsbury. We have charged Mr. Fravel with second-degree intentional murder and second-degree unintentional murder.
Adam Fravel is arrested and charged with the murder of Madeline Kingsbury. Now, the next chapter begins, getting justice for her family.
The thought that a lot of her family and friends stuck to was that Maddie would never have willingly walked away, and Maddie said it herself, that if something ever happened to her, that Adam Fravel should be the first person that investigators look at. Maddie wanted Adam out of the house. Maddie had already secured an apartment. She's dating Spencer. She had given Adam an ultimatum. Adam had a deadline. Adam had to move out of their home the very weekend that she ended up going missing. Another big motive that investigators would determine was that he was financially dependent on Maddie and he was emotionally dependent on Maddie. And when Maddie was leaving him, Adam didn't really have much else.
In fall 2024, Adam Fravel's trial gets underway, but the judge doesn't allow cameras in the courtroom. Following a grueling trial, jurors make the decision sealing his fate. Guilty on all charges.
When you have him in that unbelievably suspicious circumstance with the cadaver dogs, with the shovel, with human remains in the area where she ultimately is found, and where she's found is so close to his family's property, that is just way, way, way too many coincidences for a reasonable juror to ignore.
The investigation in this case, they really did start from nothing, and they built layer upon layer upon layer upon layer, and then finally to build a rock-solid case.
During the trial, there's no emotion from Adam. The only point that we ever saw emotion from Adam Fravel was right before the jury returned their guilty verdict. He burst into tears, and you could see that he was very visibly upset before the jury even said that he was guilty, and I think he knew that that was the end, and he did not get away with it.
About a month later, the case reaches its final chapter in the courtroom, where Madeline's loved ones stand before the judge, their voices heavy with grief and questions that still have no answers.
The defendant could have stopped, but he didn't. He could have treated Madeline like the extraordinary person she was, but he didn't. He could have given Maddie and the kids a good life, but he didn't. Instead, he treated her like she was nothing and made her very existence miserable. And then he snuffed the life out of her. I continue to live my worst nightmare over and over again. There is no peace, no reassurance, no happy ending. Instead, Madeline's kids will grow up without their mommy, and we go on as best as possible without our daughter, sister, friend, and aunt.
Maddie's family got the opportunity to look Adam in the eyes after he was found guilty on all 4 of his charges, and to hear them describe what it was like to not even know where Maddie was for 2 months, it brought a lot of us to tears, and that courtroom was absolutely packed.
The facts laid bare that she was attacked and killed by a coward twice her size, someone who she had once loved. 69 days spent searching desperately for her. Nights staring out into the darkness, wondering where she was, wondering if she was alive or dead, and wondering if we would ever find her. She truly was, and always will be, the apple of my eye. Her name is Maddie.
Before Madeline was found, those 69 days were absolute torture. The world continues around you, but You're there frozen in time. Madeline is gone. Every holiday, every special event, every milestone, we have no choice. We have to carry on without her. The defendant made the choice to take her life, which he had no right to do. We are not broken. Madeline will forever be remembered and loved. Her children will know who their mother is and was. They will also know when they're old enough what happened to her, and that their father is the monster who took her from them.
With the weight of a possible life sentence before him, Adam Fravel speaks in court, his words offering little comfort to Madeline's family.
Very briefly, I never caused harm to Maddie, and I am innocent. Thank you.
Without delay, the judge hands down Adam Fravel's sentence.
Today, this courtroom serves as a reminder of the tragic results of a planned act of violence that has forever changed the lives of at least 2 families and left a lasting impact on our community. We mourn the loss of Maddie Kingsbury, a life taken too soon by an act of unimaginable cruelty. Mr. Fravel, it is the judgment of this court that you be committed to the custody of the Commissioner of Corrections and sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of release.
A lot of families that have to cope with this type of loss in this type of way really give in to anger and hatred. This particular family has tried to turn this into something positive. They started a foundation to try and help other people. Any domestic violence incident is a tragedy, but the fact that they were able to use social media and transform what is an unspeakably terrible situation into something that can turn into potentially a ray of hope for someone else.
Domestic violence is such a messy and complicated issue for society to understand. There's so many people that think that it's just so easy to walk away from an abuser. Maddie thought that she was doing what was best as a mom, and in the end, Maddie was doing exactly what Maddie should have done, which is leave him, and she found the courage and the bravery to leave him, and that was what ended up setting him off.
An unbelievable tragedy. A devoted mother, a daughter, a friend taken far too young. And though some questions may never really be answered, what remains clear is this. The fight to honor Madeline Kingsbury and the hope of helping others are far from over. That's all we have for you here on this episode of Prime Crime. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jesse Weber, and as always, stay safe.